Welcome to Hope County Radio. You'll stop for Far Cry 5 news, tips and tricks, and the always changing Far Cry Arcade. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate. Hey everybody, and welcome to a bonus episode of Hope County Radio. And today, since I only gave a little impressions and Nate hadn't gotten the game yet, we decided to do a bonus episode. So I am your host, Nick. Here with me today, as always, is
Nate.
And yeah, so this is going to be a special one. It's not going to be as long as our normal episodes.
If you're watching the video version of this bonus episode, you'll see in the background my gameplay session. These are my first few hours. If it's a little slow, it's because I was trying to explore more and I play more stealthy. So,
how long do you think you've played by now?
Oh God, probably. I gotta say at least 10 hours. At least.
Yeah. I definitely. I have to agree with that. I am sort of trying to take my time as far as I'm trying not to I think who's one of the guys? John?
Are you talking about the enemies?
Yeah, the main lieutenant
There
guy.
is
Joseph or John?
Joseph. Joseph is the father. John is his brother. They're all
John.
related. There's John, Jacob, Faith, and
John, Jacob.
Engelheimer Schmidt. His name is Monday too. Yeah.
So yeah, I was working on John for the longest time, but after I triggered the first mission, I almost got to the first or the second little mark on the RP, and I'm like, I don't quite want to do that now. So I went over to Jacob, because he has the one lady who has the bow and arrow. And I'm like, okay, if I unlock two people, I think like Boomer for spotting and the archer lady for stealth would be really cool. So I started going over there. And so, yeah, each area also kind of just has its own feel. So I also kind of like that. So what have you been mainly focusing on?
Well, I think I've done a good mixture.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of the prepper stashes.
Okay.
Just because, each one gives you a good amount of XP, a good amount of equipment. You've got the perk magazines, which are really cool. I like that. I like that addition. It gives you a nice pickup. Oh, I have a perk. Especially since, like we talked about last episode, there's a lot of equipment stuff that are located in the perk section, like the repair torch and wingsuit and things like that. So those are nice to be able to easily get. But I've been doing a lot of the prepper stashes, and then I have I've been doing a good amount of campaign stuff as well. Yeah. I'm still in John's region, and I just got to 2 of the resistance notches on the meter. So I have that one more, and then I guess John will come out of hiding, and then I can do what I need to do with him.
Right. Have you gotten the alien gun?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man.
I just took a look at the trophy lists last night, and it kind of overwhelmed me a little bit. So I think when I clear more of the game, or either finish the game, then I'll go to it. But from my understanding, a lot of the trophies in particular, a lot of people said it's a pretty easy platinum, apart from the arcade stuff. Right.
Yeah. The missions leading up to getting the alien gun are actually kind of fun.
Does it start off with the dude who has you climb the tower and falls in?
No. This guy, when you walk up to him, he's stuck inside his little lightning trap.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I started that, but there was a glitch, which I'll talk about in here in a second.
The Matrix.
Yeah, there was a glitch when I went back to his house to clear out the guys that were at his house, and I got all of them, but it wouldn't let me talk to the dude. And so what I've had to do several times is I will punch him until he goes down, revive him, and then he'll tell me, "You didn't get all of them." And I'm like, "I got all of them." So I haven't been able to finish that mission because it's glitched out on me. I don't know. But I figured that was the start of that, just because he's got a lot of the, excuse me, got a lot of the Lost on Mars posters, and there's a collectible comic, and so I figured that was the start of that. But like I said, when I finish it, I'll let you know. But I haven't been able to yet.
Yeah, once you unlock the alien gun, it's kind of cool. I think it has a pretty short range, so you have to get like really on them. I tried it on a bear, and it's kind of hilarious because you shoot it and it just like basically, you know, those videos of the goats that just go stiff and then like fall over. It's kind of like that. Like they go up in the air a little bit and then they just kind of fall over. It's kind of a good way to like stun them and then, you know, like, and then switch to your other gun and start shooting them. It's not necessarily like a way to kill them. But yeah, it's just fun. And it was a cool little mission set up to do it, because you're basically sending this person to Mars or something. And so it's kind of cool. So, I mean, I gave my first impressions or whatever. Well, give me a rundown of your impressions of the game so far.
So, right off the bat, I definitely agree with you when you're talking about the intro. The intro, I was pretty much enthralled in from the beginning. I really, really enjoyed it. I actually had a funny moment. Some slight spoilers for the beginning of the game. Not too much, but.
Which hopefully, if you're listening to this, I mean,
yeah,
hopefully you've already played the game.
Right.
Go on.
But after the helicopter crashes and you're running away with the marshal.
What? The helicopter crash? Sorry.
you get to that house and you start to start shooting. People are coming towards the house with you and the marshal in it, and I agree with you, like you were saying earlier, with the red dot. I don't know if you said that on air or off air, but the first AR that I picked up with the iron sights, I don't really know if it's just me, but I felt so inaccurate using it.
Oh yeah.
Like that reticle on that red dot, or I'm sorry, on that iron sight is just super tiny. Anyway, the marshal went down, and I didn't at the beginning know what that meant. I figured I had to go revive him. So I run over to him, and I get killed. I was like, okay, wow, all right. And then when I respawn, the marshal is running towards the truck, and we get in the truck, and he goes, "Oh my God, you saved my life!" And I'm like, I mean, I guess I just died. Okay, cool.
You're welcome. Yeah.
But yeah, the intro I really, really enjoyed. It did a really good job of capturing my attention, and you know, it's one of those that I knew when they were in the helicopter and the sheriffs are telling the marshal, "Don't f*** with these guys." I knew what was going to happen. I knew that the marshal was going to get overzealous and want to do something about it. And then it's one of those, the sheriffs were like, "Told you so, told you so." Right. And then, you know, when it crashes and then the father like comes in and is talking to you and is in your face, it's just kind of like, whoa, all right.
Yeah. I think the best thing about this villain versus, and I might have mentioned this on the last episode, but the best thing about this villain is that he's not just necessarily in your face, and he's not just like, he's not super crazy necessarily. It's his resolve, it's his, how calm he can be in the situation. That's what makes him intimidating. Because it's like there's like literally fire everywhere, and you're upside down in a helicopter, and he's like singing a gospel song. It's like, okay, why aren't you more freaked out?
Yeah, like with Pagan Min I thought was kind of a interesting character in the sense of he very much was calm and elegant as well, but he would have these moments where he would just flip out and, kill his guys, or right. He would do something erratic, and so it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what this guy's capable of. And then you have Voss, who from start to finish is just a crazy right. dude. He's a maniac, and you know that from the beginning.
Yeah, and see, I feel like Voss was just like crazy, kooky, and then Pagan, he was cocky. He was like, he was confident or whatever. Whereas now we have, Joseph, and he is I mean, everything that stems from the cult is actually from a very religious viewpoint. And so everything about him is like, come bathe in the gloriousness of God, and he will come down and smite you.
Yeah. I'm going to cut ahead a little bit to kind of further that point. One of the things I really like in this game is the whole resistance meter. The fact of that's how you trigger main story stuff for the most part in a specific area. So, for example, whenever I hit that first notch, I was about to go take an outpost, and all of a sudden because I try to play stealthy.
Right.
I had a notification that says enemy reinforcements capture party is on their way. I'm like, what did I do? Like, I'm not even at the outpost yet.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, they're starting to freak out. Let me just run and go do a prepper stash or something like that. Let me get away from the area. But as I'm running towards like a prepper stash that's like maybe 400 meters away, I still see that icon, capture party is coming, and I still hear them talking in my headphones. And I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden I get shot by a bliss bullet and things start to sparkle. And I'm like, okay. Yep. And then it initiates a cutscene. And I'm basically being baptized by John. But John, I think, is also trying to kill me because he keeps throwing me in the water.
Yep.
And then you're high on bliss, which is it's a really cool feature.
Right.
And as he's doing that, you hear John, and then like you come up out of the water, and just like this omnipotent figure is just in the background, in the headlight, like in front of the headlights, and he's just, do you really want to do that? Yeah, it's one of those that this is a good antagonist.
Right.
It's somebody who you kind of fear and also want to know more about.
Yeah.
And then also
he's not about the show. He's not about the aggressiveness. He's very much about control, which I think maybe is why he doesn't just immediately kill you, or he doesn't, because like if anything, like he sees your potential and what you could do for his cause, and he wants to turn you. He wants to slowly wither you down and make you his. Instead of just you're a loose cannon and I'm gonna shoot you right in the head, or poke out your eyes like he does the guy in the beginning of the game. Yeah.
So one thing that people have been complaining about that I've seen is just how many patrols you encounter, but in turn that it seems to be harder, which it definitely is, which I appreciate, because I thought 4 was really easy, especially when they give you that bow gun, because that just made it like, oh, I have a lot more ammo to shoot people silently. But but I think, and as far as story goes, that makes sense.
It does, actually.
How many patrols, because these people are batshit crazy. Hold on, is it just me, or in the beginning scene, whenever they were getting in the helicopter, did a follower dive himself into the helicopter blades?
Yep.
Because that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It was crazy. Yeah, I had my live stream going. I was like, what? Did that person really just do that? Like, I had the exact same like reaction or whatever. Going back to the patrols, I think, if anything, what it really encourages you to do is explore, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because if you're going to be on the main roads, and I would think this about anything occupied, like even if we went to Afghanistan or we went over to like Russia or whatever, and it was occupied Russia, or Germany, during World War II or something, if you're going to be on the main roads, that's what people are going to be patrolling. That's what people are going to be protecting. So if you're on a main road and you see a patrol and then another one comes along, like to me, that felt like really realistic. Was it annoying? Yeah, but then that just mean I need to lead them into the woods and then take them out, like hunter style.
We'll see. The only issue I had, for the most part in every Far Cry game, I avoid the roads. Yeah. Like in 4 in particular, I use that gyrocopter a lot. Now, one thing I probably won't be doing is using the helicopters or the planes in this game,
right?
Simply because something I've noticed is you don't get rid of the fog of war unless you're walking through the area or driving on the roads.
That's true. Yeah.
I did use the helicopter earlier to have you got to the mission where you have to take out John's convoys. Like there's 3 convoy trucks you have to destroy.
Yeah, those will show up randomly.
Yeah, well, I got 2 of them, and then I was like, let me get the other one. It's far away, and so I got in a helicopter. That's the only time I've used it. But
right.
I hardly ever use the roads in any of the Far Cry games because I don't really like the driving. This one's a lot better, though, I will say.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'll use the ATV or I'll just kind of walk around the wooded areas. But the only problem I ran into as far as patrols was whenever a altercation in the woods went south and I had to go loud, and then more people would keep showing up. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that does kind of go back to the realism of it. One of the main issues I've kind of run into is, like, let's say there's a 4-way stop, and then I go south of that 4-way stop, and there is an altercation. There's, they have somebody down on the floor on their knees or whatever, and so I take them out quickly or whatever. And then I turn around back to the 4-way stop that I was literally just at, and all of a sudden there's a brand new altercation over there. That's been one thing I've noticed. I feel like they probably, and I don't know if they would want to fix this or if this is just what they wanted to do. But I do kind of feel like that happens maybe too often. Like, even if I'm driving down the road, let's say, I'm driving down the road in either ATV or a truck or something, I can see, like, if I'm driving for, let's say, just 2 minutes, I can see, like, 3 altercations on the side of the road, whether it be they have somebody knelt down, whether they be, like, it's one of those guys that are already dead and he's sticking the cross in their back or something, or it's just, them on the side of the road doing something, and so I feel like along with the patrols, that happens maybe a little bit too often. And I don't know if it's just like something up with the like algorithm that they have or something, like they put in a little bit too many 1s and 0s or something, but it does seem to happen a lot. Like, if I'm able to go over, it takes me maybe, let's say, 30 seconds to take out 2 guys on one thing. I'm able to turn around and all of a sudden there's just a new thing that spawned there. Like, that's really weird. I don't know. I don't necessarily like that. I would like, if anything, it would be cool if instead of it just spawning, like, you could see it happen. Maybe a driver comes by in a center car, and so then they actually, like, go after them and pull them over, pull them out of the car, and then put them on their knees or something like that. If I could actually see it happen, I think that'd be really cool. It would be very immersive. But instead, It's like they clearly spawn in that position already. They're already on their knees and they're already, being harassed or whatever. And so that kind of breaks the fourth wall. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is just a video game thing that happens.
That and someone had pointed out how they didn't like the plane or the helicopter or they didn't like the vehicles because the dashes, the dashboards, and the panels are all stickers. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then I got into vehicles and planes and helicopters, and I'm like, oh, I see immediately what they're talking about. There's no interactivity on the thing. So that kind of happened for me as far as breaking the fourth wall. I was like, oh, well, yeah, that kind of breaks the immersion on it. But in response to the whole patrol thing, another point that I have here on my phone is this is kind of the only Far Cry that I've been more let's find the right word to say this, that I've been more interested in playing loud and chaotic than stealth. And it's a few different things. One in particular is right when I had the chance, I picked up a bow, and you get it pretty
Right.
early. I think when you do one of the first prepper stashes, there's a bow in there. And the bow in general, I guess because it's a compound bow, not a recurve, but the way they have the sound design, it feels really good. Like
Right.
you have that wind up and then that hard thunk when it like shoots. And I like that. But something I've noticed is it's not as easy to kill people with a bow this time around unless you're aiming for the head.
Yeah. So
And-
in a situation, it's not the best thing to be like, all right, let me pull out my bow.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. Hold on just a second.
Yeah. But another thing, it does have to do with the patrols because they're so frequent, because I interact with so many enemies. I feel like I have to have like I had the AR on there for a while, and then I had a shotgun because I was like, well, I'm getting up close to these guys, let me just get a shotgun. And I've had more loud altercations than I've had stealth, and I've had quite a few. Like every time I take out an outpost, I'm stealthy, but when I'm just walking around, I have to have something else besides the bow and the pistol.
Right.
So, and then whenever I went to go get one of those convoy trucks, I actually took the bow off. So I put the rocket launcher on there, and then I put a shotgun. And I was like, I've never done this before. The bow has always been in my inventory. But besides that, I'm trying to think if there was another reason why. Oh, yeah. I guess because in Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 3, it made more sense story-wise to be stealthy to me because you're alone on this island. You don't have any help.
True.
Like in Far Cry 4, you had the guns for hire, but I never used it. I still felt like I was this person on this island trying to survive. And in this, it very much feels like, oh no, I have a resistance behind me. It's like we're an army against their army. So it almost makes sense for me to be loud rather than stealthy, trying to survive, you know?
That's cool. It's good that they can use game design to make you play a certain way.
They've done it before too. Ubisoft has with Watch Dogs 2. For me, they give you the option of, you know, you can get a lot of weapons and, you know, lethal stuff. But Greg Miller had said this, and I was like, huh. And so I started playing it, and the vibe I got from the crew in that game is these are just hacktivists. And so I played completely non-lethal. I think there was one lethal time I had, and that was because of like an emotional mission. Right. And it made sense as far as the story goes, but I completely played it like I would, like I was a non-lethal. You know, that story made sense to me. So we'll see going forward when I finish the game how I play, if I do play more loud and use more of my soldiers in my roster, or if I just try to one-man it and be stealthy.
All right, so then we're gonna do a top 10. We didn't do one last week, so we wanted to, you know, give you a nice little bonus thing. So top 10 things for new players. Number 10, interact with everything you can. This includes people you just saved or people at your outposts. Talk to everybody. They can tell you where a prepper stash is. They can tell you where, you know, a good place to fish is. They could tell. There's so many that they will tell you. And luckily, like, I don't know about you, but luckily I feel like there's not a lot of repeats.
No, every single mission or prepper stash or something that has come from either saving somebody or running into somebody is been new and different. And especially with the people, something I like as far as the roster system goes is you can hire them as well. So they can be soldiers for you potentially, even if they don't have a mission. So it's a very intuitive system. I have not had a repeat yet, and if I have, it's been different enough so it's not exactly the same.
Yeah, maybe they tell you about Sarah's prepper stash, but they word it in a completely different way that you just don't notice it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that.
Number 9, headshots. Headshots in this game, especially if you're using silent stuff or stealthy things like the bow. And this also goes for VIPs in particular. I didn't discover that VIPs are actually stronger characters because I kept throwing knives at him and he kept just flinching. So in particular,
stop tickling me.
Yeah, exactly. You make sure in this game in particular, go for the head.
Yeah. Definitely. Not only that, but then you won't have them, or you won't have the capability of them being revived, which sometimes that's good because you can kind of lure out their people if they try to go revive him. But I also feel like they're smart enough to not do that if they're way out in the open. So headshots either way. Number 8, buy red dots ASAP. Not only that, but I feel like the breadth of scopes that you can get, you really want to get used to those and figure out maybe which ones you do like, because there's some that are really long distance, some that let you change your magnification, but at the very least, we both brought up the iron sights, and they're so tiny. Like, it's so hard to distinguish exactly what you're aiming at. And so getting that red dot, I mean, like, it's relatively cheap. So if you want to get a red dot and then save up for a scope later, I think it's very essential in the first hours.
Yeah, definitely. The moment I put a red dot on the AR in particular, it was immediately better accuracy.
Right.
I was killing the cult members with less rounds, and I was like, oh man, this is a necessity. That's why it's on this list, is because with a lot of rifles, it is a necessity.
Yep.
Number 7, don't forget your Ubisoft Club items. In particular, the outfits you get. There's the baseball outfit, then there's the muscle car skin as well, but you also get some weapon stuff. You get a MP5K basically right when you start the game, and especially if you've played Rainbow Six, if you have Rainbow Six Siege saved on your console, then you have access to a free a free Rainbow Six outfit.
Right.
But also there's a bunch of skins, and there's also a bunch of harvesting items that you can get, like in Assassin's Creed Origins, in the Ubisoft Club store.
Right. Number 6, unlock Harvest Master and Extra Holster. I think these two are probably one of the first two, because kind of like what you were saying with the bow and arrow, when you're only able to have that and a pistol, it could be really hard.
It makes the game a lot harder for you. It does.
Yeah, so having that extra option to have the bow and arrow and an assault rifle is really good, as far as I think that's one of the first things you do. Now, a lot of people argue that you should start doing health right off the bat. I haven't really felt the need to yet, and that's because with the new buddy system, basically, Boomer comes over and he revives me. So it's like, does it suck to die? Of course it does. But I have Boomer there, or I have one of my other guns for hire, and they come and they, revive me. Only in few instances where something blew up and I'm surrounded in fire does he not come and get me. And then the other one is unlock Harvest Master, and that one's obviously good for when you're hunting. You get double the harvest. And so I think that and Extra Holster, those are probably two of the first ones, plus they're two of the more expensive ones, so get those out of the way. And it could just make your time a little bit easier as far as money and having an extra gun.
I think a good companion to Harvest Master probably would be the upgraded storage in your inventory.
Good one.
Because I've noticed that after I got Harvest Master, I would go to skin a bear and it'd say, hey, it's full. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I should probably go sell those. So, number 5, prepper stashes. Make sure you get them, and they're also really, really fun. Prepper stashes, you can get anything from perk magazines to loot to money. There's always stacks of money on top of them. You can also get ammo and inventory items as well. They're always full of stuff, and that's what I've used a lot to get money in the game and to upgrade my perks, because I've just been doing those over and over again. And they're also, each individual one I've encountered have been different. There have been a different way to get to the stash, or to, there's one you have to zip line across the way on this post and snipe the door through the window.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're always nice little puzzles, and yeah, I really like.
Yeah, they make it very enjoyable for you to do them. They're different, and it like you said, it's like a puzzle. It's It's like, how do I solve this? How do I get in here? And they're not really hard. Every one I've done, I was like, oh, okay, I need to go there. Like, I've played enough games to know this is how it wants me to solve it.
Number four, this might do with single player, but playing some arcade games is actually good for money. Even if you just do a random one, search through them. You just do a couple of random ones. You just do a couple of random ones. The bar fills up. Sometimes you can get a couple thousand. Sometimes you can get a couple dollars. And so just when you're having fun, or if you happen to take over an outpost that do a couple of missions, and get a.
Number 3, no one pays attention to Boomer, which is totally true.
Yep.
You would think that a dog running up to them and barking at them to tell you they're there would warn them, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
And it's like as soon as you do get discovered, then they'll pay attention to him. But if you want him to go and point out every enemy in an outpost, they'll just run up and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, I honestly, this might be game breaking, so to speak, but it's like I've never even really heard them acknowledge that he even exists. So he's like Ellie in The Last of Us, where it's just, yeah, I'm just here, don't mind me.
Yeah, the only time I've heard them interact with him is when I go loud and they'll be like, "Gotta kill that dog."
Exactly. So when you're stealthy, they're just like, "That's a dog," and that's normal in this here parts. Number 2, secondary missions are really good for money. So, and I think that also just goes with the way the game is made. The main missions are the ones I feel like when you fill up the bar and then you trigger something. And all the other stuff are really just side missions that obviously you're going to be unlocking parts of the map, and so you could sort of count those as main missions, but I feel like taking down each member of that's your main mission, and so everything else is side missions, but they're really good with money. And so if you're feeling yourself struggle on money, do some side missions and get some of those secondaries out of the way, and you're getting a couple thousand sometimes for each one.
It's also something that I was worried about when I started the game, because when I started the game, I immediately got a lot of money. Like, just by scrounging around and looting items, I got a lot of money. And it scared me at first, because I thought it was going to be like 4, which 4, you just have Monopoly money and you can buy whatever the hell you want. I mean, the economy in that game is ridiculous. But so far, through my playthrough of 5, it's been really moderate. Everything's reasonably priced.
Right.
You're not making too much money that you can just buy whatever you want. Like, you gotta be, okay, do I want to buy this silencer for $1,700? Do I want to buy this gun for, so I think that has gone a long way with the secondary missions. You get a lot of money, but it's not too much. Like, it doesn't break the economy of the game. And then number 1, just have fun. Don't take this game too seriously. A lot of people are. Just have fun. This game is a blast. It's probably one of the more fun Far Cry games I've played, just because it lets you kind of just do whatever you want.
Exactly.
So that's the main thing. If we get anything out of this game, is have fun. Yep. It's just shooting stuff. The story, it's there. The story is there for if you want it, but don't read too much into it.
Yeah. And I mean, the main reason I put this in the thing myself is there's a lot of articles out there, or there's even I hate to say this, but like Downward Thrust, I really like Downward Thrust, but he came out with a video saying, oh, they should have said something about this, they should have done something about that. And then obviously Polygon, we already kind of commented on their BS review or whatever, but one of the main things they bring up is like, oh, they should have commentated on this, they should have commentated on that. And it's like, what people are trying to say, what some people, I should preface that, what some people are trying to say is that they are not tackling certain topics, and so I feel like that's a really unfair statement, because do they straight up say like white supremacy is bad, guns are bad? No, they don't say that, but instead they chose a predominantly white cultist group who are very gun happy, and then they put you in that situation. You are a silent protagonist, so you are molding yourself into this character. So you get to decide, well, how would my character react to this? How would, and I 100% appreciate that they're not beating me over the head with a bat over, hey, guns are bad, white supremacy is bad, They're not beating me over the head with it. They're not relentlessly getting preachy, which obviously they are getting preachy, but in many different ways.
Yeah. Now it's not like a lot of these people are yelling about nothing, because Far Cry campaigns, at least 3, 4, and this one, do have a message in the campaign. Like 3 was basically about rich kids doing whatever the hell they want for the most part. 4, you had resistance and victims of war, and these siblings that were trying to figure out how to save their country but maybe not do it in the right way. So there's always a message there. But also in Far Cry, the whole point of the game is to just do crazy wacky stuff.
Yeah, it's like a big open world.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people, since the beginning of them showing 5, have been wanting them to tackle and go a little bit more towards a certain way, like be a little more edgy, and then when it kind of falls flat, like it normally does, they're like, oh, well, I was really hoping this time. Well, we can talk about this on a later episode, but politics, I like politics in games, but don't focus on politics in games. Exactly. Focus on the games. It's not that hard.
Don't review a game because it doesn't have enough politics. Because here's the thing, I'm going to close off my part of the discussion. I play games to escape the world. Whatever side of the spectrum you're on, if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, that doesn't matter. What you probably play a game for is to escape the world. So whatever turmoil is happening in your world, whatever political unrest is happening, you go to your game to escape that. That's what it is. Just like a movie, which movies can be preachy in their own ways, but specifically games, I feel like it's real escapism. So having a game that, like I said, is not beating me over the head is very good. But it still presents me with these topics. Maybe not in a in-your-face way, because, like I said, they don't necessarily say that white supremacy is bad, but it's very prominently white, And so what kind of world would this be with this type of cult? It still brings those questions. It might not 100% answer them. It might not answer them in the way you like, but down to everything, just have fun. This is an escape from the real world. This is a way to go and do something that you could never do before, like put a remote charge on a cow.
Yeah. It's one of those that I totally agree. I play games to escape.
Yep.
I play games to get lost in this world. So if I want to get lost in this world, put a remote charge on a cow, or just beat the cow up with my fists, and then go and do a Preber stash, I can totally do that. And I can enjoy the campaign and the story they're trying to tell at the same time. I don't have to sit there and be like, oh God, I wish they would focus more on religion, or why guns need to be banned, or this is the reason why guns need to be. It's just... Yeah, you're making a fool out of yourself. Leave that for the politicians.
Leave that for the people. That's their job. It's their job to debate that. Leave it to them.
Yeah. It's the game maker's job to bring up a discussion, but it's not their job to tackle this issue the way they see fit.
Exactly. Because then you run the risk of, the left getting mad or the right getting mad or boycotting the game and stuff like that. So I feel like they handled it in a pretty good way. They still brought the subjects to the game, but they didn't make you, okay, you have to think this way, and I appreciate that. So number 1, everybody, have freaking fun. It's a freaking game. Alrighty. So, that's going to be the episode for us today. Thank you so much for joining us at the Hope County Radio. I hope you enjoyed this nice little bonus, now that we are able to get our full impressions in there. So make sure to let us know what you are. More importantly, get us your maps. We want maps for Arcade Archive. Every episode we're going to have Arcade Archive. We'd like to have at least 5 maps so that we can play through them, review them, and then put them on the thing. Somebody's making a Nuketown map, and oh my god, I cannot wait to play it. He's already done like a fly through where he walks through it and shows what he's got so far. Really, really good. We want maps like that. Not only that, join our Discord. If you go to @HopeCountyRadio or just in the descriptions, you can get to our Discord. In our Discord, if you are an Xbox player or a PC player, we currently have, both of us have it on the PlayStation 4. It would be nice to have some people to play maps on the other systems so that we could still have somebody reviewing those, because at the moment we can only review PlayStation 4 maps, and that's really unfair for all the other listeners. So if you'd like to, apply, quote unquote, to be our Xbox guy, to be our PC guy, let us know in the Discord, let us know in Twitter, or you can go to threatx3productions.com and you can also get to a hold us that way. threatx3productions@gmail.com is our email if you'd like to email us. Many different ways to get a hold of us, but let us know if you'd like to either help us or give us the title of your map and who made it, whether it's you or somebody else, so we can review it on the next show. So, anything else you can think of?
Well, the only thing I want to add is by the time you're either seeing or hearing this bonus episode, my unboxing of the Far Cry 5 Gold Edition and the pre-order bonuses that I got with it should be up as well. So make sure to check that out. That's going to be on Threat X3 Productions, of course. It'll be listed as Far Cry 5 unboxing, something along those lines. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right, so that's going to be the episode today. Thank you. This was Nick.
And Nate.
And we will see you in Hope County, where anything can and will happen.